Hi guys, so today's lesson is on adding fractions. Our learning intentions for today's class is by the end of the class, you should be able to add fractions that have a common denominator and add fractions that have a different denominator. Fractions are said to have a common denominator if they have the same denominator on the bottom. For example, 11 twelfths, 4 twelfths, and 5 twelfths. These all have a common denominator of 12. When fractions have a common denominator, we can add them together like this. 11 twelfths plus 4 twelfths plus 5 twelfths gives us 20 twelfths. This is an improper fraction. If we want to write this as a mixed number, we check how many times does 12 go into 20? It goes in once with a remainder of 8. This means that we have 1 and 8 twelfths. Or 1 and 2/3. By cancelling the top and bottom by a common multiple, 4, we get 2/3. When we add fractions, step 1 is to make sure that the bottom numbers, the denominators, are already the same. If they are already the same, go straight to step 2. Add the top numbers and put the answer over the same denominator. Step 3. We must simplify our fraction by dividing the top and bottom by a common multiple. For example, 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 2/4. 2 divides into 2 and 4. 2 divided by 2 gives us a top of 1. 4 divided by 2 gives us a bottom of 2. This leaves us with our answer as 1/2. Please pause this video and take down the steps and the example. Let's look at a harder example. Fractions with different denominators. These are more difficult to add and subtract. For example, what is 1/2 plus 1/3? Let's look at a diagram and see if this can help us find our answer. Here we have 1/2. Here I have 1/3. To add these together, we will divide both pieces into 6. For our first square, this leaves us with 3/6. For our second rectangle, we're left with 2/6. Now that we have a common denominator, adding these together, we get 5/6. Let's look at how we would solve this type of question without using diagrams. Example 3. Evaluate 3/5 plus 2/9. First, we can see that these two fractions do not have a common denominator. The first thing that we must do is find a common denominator. To do this, step 1, we find the lowest common multiple of 5 and 9. This is 45. Our lowest common multiple is the new denominator. Step 2. Find the equivalent fractions which have a denominator of 45, i.e., write 3/5 as its equivalent fraction with a bottom of 45. We do this by seeing how many times do we multiply 5 to get 45. 5 times 9 gives us 45. To find the equivalent fraction, we multiply the top and the bottom by 9. Our equivalent fraction, with a denominator of 45, equals 27 over 45. Let's find the equivalent fraction for 2/9. 2/9 equals 10 over 45. How did we find this? We know our new bottom is 45. What must we multiply 9 by to get 45? 9 times 5 equals 45. To find the new top, we also multiply this by 5. 2 times 5 gives us 10. Once you find your equivalent fractions, we do step 3, add the fractions together. 27 over 45 plus 10 over 45 equals 37 over 45. When adding fractions, we must make sure that we have a common denominator. To find your common denominator, find the lowest common multiple of your bottoms. Change your fractions into the equivalent fractions with your bottom as the lowest common denominator. Once we have a common denominator, we can add fractions together. Please pause this video and take down this example. Now that we have looked at how to add fractions together, please complete the following questions. Page 88. Exercise 6.2. Question 2. Question 4. And question 7. Please note, in question 4, you may either use the fraction strips shown in the first example or add the fractions together by finding the equivalent fractions with a common denominator.